Well, aloha, and how you doing? Welcome to another exciting adventure of Hibachi Talk. Grab yourself a towel, a libation, pull up, sit down and have a chit chat. I'm Gordo, the tech czar, and Andrew, the security guy, is off securitying somewhere. He's securing the world, and so he's on another trip. I told him to bring back the nuts from the planes because we can do a competition to see which ones are better. And sitting with me today is our guest is Joe Ferraro. Joe Ferraro is the principal of Ferraro Choi and Associates. Nice to see you, everybody.
Hey, Gordo.
Hey, we've been around, we hung out a lot together. We have a few things in common. He has a really interesting project we're going to talk about today. Is it 30 years in Antarctica?
34.
34 years in Antarctica, and the technologies that he had to use there. But you know, we like to get some background on our guests and get a sense of who you are and so on. But I'll start off with something that makes us kind of like kindred spirits.
Oh, okay.
Twin sons of different
There you
mothers,
go.
so to
Yep.
speak. So, what year were you born? And I know you're not afraid of that.
I was born in 1949.
So was I.
Good year.
What month were you born?
I was born in June.
Oh, so was I. What day in June?
June 10th.
So was I. Can you hear that? So both Joe and I were born on the same day in the same year, and not that far apart, actually.
Right,
You were across
right.
the river, or across the lake,
Yeah, across the pond. Yeah.
across the pond in
Yeah.
the United States,
So I was born in New York, and Gordon was born on the other side of the border.
in Toronto. So it was just, and almost at the same time.
Yeah.
And then I forget, 30 plus years later, we met each other here in Hawaii. And we've done a lot of projects together and been able to hang out and have some good stories. So anyway, so you were born on the U.S. side and so on. So where did you go to school?
I went to school in upstate New York, and then went to college down in the big city of New York City, to Pratt Institute.
Wow.
And after that, I worked in New York City for about 15 years, came to Honolulu, and decided to go back for graduate studies at UH. So I went to UH School of Architecture.
Oh, and so I didn't realize that. So
Yeah.
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're a UH alum,
Yeah.
go to all the football games?
Well, really? Yeah.
Well, you got to this year. My grandson's going to be starting. Nose guard,
Yep.
Rasmussen, number 75.
Can't wait.
I've got the
Good
season
kid.
tickets.
I remember when he was born.
That's right. You remember he was born. You remember the whole family and everything. Oh, by the way, grandson number 3, I got a brag moment. Grandson number 3, who was on the show a few months ago, just texted me last night with his GPA, Kamehameha, sophomore, 4.0.
Ah,
It runs in the family.
I doubt it.
Not. If I was happy to get 2.2.
Me too.
So you studied architecture,
Yeah.
and you've been doing this for the longest time. Now, how'd you get to Hawaii?
Well, that's X-rated, but I did get here by an airplane.
Okay.
But the reason being, we'll go into that over a beer. But
Okay.
Anyway, got
I didn't
here.
know you were a porn star.
Got here and decided to work for a great firm called CJS Group Architects, and worked with Chris Smith over there for 6 years, and that's where I got introduced to Antarctica.
Okay.
So it was a Navy project. They needed 2 people to go down, so myself and my good friend Lee Davis, we flew down, spent 6 weeks there, learned all about the continent, and subsequently got another project through CJS, and have been going down there ever since.
So tell us about, so this is a tech show, and we'll talk about, so
Yeah.
what great high tech were you using 30, how many years ago? 34 years ago?
Yeah.
So what great high tech were you using to work with the
Well,
NSF?
we were pioneers, because NSF at the time said, we want you to do all your communication with us with this new system. It's called email
Okay.
and World Wide Web. And we said, we don't, well, actually, it wasn't even worldwide then. It was just a scientific.
Right, it was Plato, or whatever.
Yeah, and we had to use floppy disks and all that stuff. And, you know, we had this little Apple computer. So we had to do everything, all of our correspondence via the email, scientific email, which really got us, you know, up to speed on all this stuff. Then when we went, and this is before AutoCAD, so everything was hand-drawn.
Oh, wow.
Everything was hand-drawn. And then this was prior to fax as well.
So pre-fax, now did you,
Pre-fax,
so you weren't scanning things in?
no. So you had to, whenever you did a presentation, you did it on those clear acetates.
Okay.
And then you had to throw it up on one of those projectors.
Right.
So, I mean, this is really low tech. When we went down to Antarctica, you had to carry all your drawings with you and present them. And if you had to get something down there, it had to be shipped down, and it would take, you know, weeks to get down there.
So now you would, how long would it take you to get from Honolulu to Antarctica when you flew down there?
A few days.
A few days?
Yeah, a few days, yeah.
So I'm just loving this. So you got to send all the drawings down.
Yeah,
Which would take a few weeks.
could be, yeah.
And then you take a few days to get there.
Right.
And if you forgot a drawing.
Right. You made it on the spot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what you would do is you'd fly down to New Zealand, Christchurch, New Zealand,
Okay.
and then from Christchurch, you got on a C-130 cargo plane, sat in the back with the cargo, and you flew for 8 hours to the coast. And then at the coast, that's McMurdo Station, and then you'd fly from there in another C-130 with skis on it to the South Pole. That was another 3 to 5 hours.
Did you ever get stranded because of the weather?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, so
that
you'd be
was
stuck.
like, yeah, that was standard procedure.
Yes, you just knew. So
Yeah.
as you said, it would take you days to get there.
Yeah.
Now, is McMurdo where the post office
Well,
is?
excuse me, it'd take you days to get there, but it'd take you weeks to get out. That was yeah, so you're often stuck there for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And well, at least you no AutoCAD. You had sit there and do drawings with your pencils.
That's right. And if what everybody really did want is to get on what they called a boomerang. So on a C-130, they go 300 miles an hour, and the headwinds can be over 300 miles an hour. So there's a point of no return, which is about 50% of the way there, and sometimes you'd have to turn around and come all the way back.
Wow.
And then sit there with all your gear and wait for the winds to die down so that you get on the plane again for another 8 hours.
Another 8 hours
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get back to McMurdo.
Yeah, so, so it was a big difference in times, you know.
So just thinking about the man hours and the were you billable by hour?
8 hours only.
Oh,
A day.
God, if you imagine, can you imagine it was billable?
Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you and I wouldn't be having this conversation now because you'd be living in the Riviera somewhere.
Yeah, right,
in
that's
this
right.
great
Yeah,
mansion.
I would have made money, actually.
Yeah, made money. But, so and so you're a local firm
Mhm.
that, has been working on this very global project.
Yeah.
So your staff and everybody must be pretty proud of this one.
Oh, yeah, well, we're all proud of it. It's, once you get hooked, you're really tied into that whole network of the Antarctic people, and you don't want to leave.
Is there any, like, I'm sure you got a million stories, but is there
Yeah.
any kind of like special story that kind of, that sticks out? Like, did you fall madly in love with a penguin somewhere or anything like that? Or
It's another X-rated story over a beer. But if you're unlucky enough to winter over, that's 9 months there. So those people that winter over have some amazing stories.
Oh,
And
it's got to be survival related.
it is survival related, yeah. And if, there's been stories about a Russian doctor giving himself an appendectomy.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know one, well, there's been many, many stories of people, I won't go into it, but where things go wrong and you're on one of these remote outposts with 4 people. It's like being on a ship to Mars,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it gets kind of hairy.
That.
But I have been lucky enough never to be on an overwinter.
What's the longest
tour.
time you had to stay?
I've been there 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
go
the
ahead. Yeah,
summer.
that's a good idea. So we're going to show a map of Antarctica and give you a sense of sort of like, this is a continent,
Yeah,
right?
this is the continent.
So tell us about this.
Yeah, so if you put the United States into it, there'd be a lot left over. And the continent is actually a continent. Unlike the North Pole, this is there's actually land here. A lot of it, because of the ice above it, has been pushed down so it's below sea level. So there's
Wow.
about 12,000 feet of ice on top of this continent, and pushes it down.
Pushes it down.
And it's got more fresh water in ice form than anywhere in the world.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty special.
Yeah.
Pretty special.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed that there was an advertisement, believe it or not, in the paper for someone to fill the slot at the post office at.
Oh, yeah. At South Pole?
At South Pole.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the person that been there was a woman, been there for like decades.
Yeah, yeah.
I said.
I think she's gotten out once or twice.
Yeah, I hope so. But I love when in the ad that went out, it said, must be able to stand the smell of penguins.
Well, one thing about, there's no penguins, there's no life at South Pole.
Oh, okay.
But along the coast at McMurdo Station, there's all kinds of wildlife. So you have whales, penguins, seals, skuas, which are birds. But when you're at the pole, it's like being on the moon.
So, wow. So now we'll come back to the technology aspects of this. So you're doing the CAD drawings and so on. And so so how long would it take to say, once you got a particular, well, you got a building you've got to build.
Yeah.
How long would it take just to get the drawings approved and signed off before you even started building? And then I'll ask you some questions about construction.
Well, I'll give you, for instance, at South Pole, when we designed that station, we had a 3-year basic engineering study of what could be done, how it could be done, because our design temperature was 110 below zero.
Wow.
Fahrenheit. So, you can't go down to a store and buy a tube of caulking that says it's rated for 110 below zero. So everything's got to be tested. So we went through that 3 years of study, and then we started designing in 1998, and we completed the work in around, 2002.
Okay.
Then they started building.
So
Actually, they started building in 2001.
Okay, so 3 years of drawings
Yeah.
and
No, 3 years of study. 3 years of drawings.
6.
And then there's construction, and construction ended in 2009.
In 2009. My goodness, that's a 10-year.
Well, I was on that project for over 15 years.
For 15 years.
Yeah.
Now, did you have to do like wind studies and
Yes.
things like that? Because
Yeah, so we do wind studies that are really snow studies, because on the continent, you don't get much precipitation. It's really a desert. So
Okay.
the snow just blows around all the time. And you have to, if this is your building, you put
Right.
it down on the snow,
Right.
it's gonna get covered.
Okay,
So we design our buildings so that they're like airfoils.
okay.
So the wind will blow around them and under them, so we don't get snow piling on top. So it's a lot of wind studies.
So what kind of technologies did you use to do those wind studies? And we're talking way back before. Were there even wind tunnels back in those days?
There were basic wind tunnels, but what we used was sort of like a wind tunnel. You built a model,
Okay.
scale model made of clay. You stuck it in it was actually a water flume. So if you're in here in Hawaii,
Right.
we have these flumes of water to irrigate our fields. So it was a water flume, and then the water running through this flume would represent the speed of the wind.
Okay,
And then we would drop sand on top of it, which represents snow. And then the model was on a disc, and you could rotate it for wind direction.
wow, wow.
And then you run the simulation for wind speed, snowfall, and direction. And then you'd take all the water out of the tank, and you'd see where the snow accumulated on the building.
Oh, that was.
Low tech.
Yeah, that's really low
Low
tech.
tech.
But it may be low tech, but I'm on the high tech thing of the brain of the person that thought of this. So let me show you. All this great architectural work. We have this show. This part of the show we call Got One Tech Job. So and we go around, and some of our viewers send stuff in. So so here's one of the ones that we saw that we found the other day there. So there's a handrail, and that door you can't really see the sign, but it says electrical room. So as an architect, I got to ask you. So first of all, was that really on the drawings? And number two, if it was, and you were the construction guy, would you really do it?
Hey, it's on the drawings.
It's on the drawings. You just do it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm
well,
sure.
hopefully there's a thing called RFI, Request for Information, which you would hope the contractor would say,
Would
hey,
do.
Rob.
Well, this just doesn't quite make sense to me.
Right. But they would do it first, then ask probably.
Yeah.
So they get a change order.
Yeah. Well, unless there was someone in the electrical room and he did it on purpose.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And they tried to get out.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So anyway, Got One Tech Job, our segment. Well, that's awesome. This whole thing with the water and the sands studies and such a big thing. So the buildings are on pedestals.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them are. Oh, and then some are designed like the foils, so the
Yeah.
snow blows around and doesn't gather on them.
Yeah.
So now now that you've seen this happening, give me kind of like the evolution of the tech. What happened after you did this wonderful thing called email, and what were the next things that you thought were the things that popped it up to start to make it better? AutoCAD, did that come into play?
Yeah,
at some point?
so then one of the first buildings, we just started using AutoCAD. So we did the plan on AutoCAD, just the basic plan. And then we sent that to our engineers as a paper file. And then they worked on top of that. No one else had AutoCAD.
No one had at the time.
But now, we're way beyond AutoCAD. We're into this thing called Revit, which is building information management systems. Everything is in 3D.
In 3D, well,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, it's that time. I got to go hit the Lua.
Okay, I'll go with you.
You can go with me. And so we'll go down there, and then we'll be back in a couple of minutes. We'll go grab Angus off the beach. He's got some interesting segment he said he wanted to bring in to talk to Joe about. So anyway, we'll be back in a minute. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Ethan Allen. I host Likeable Science on ThinkTech Hawaii, and I do this because I care about science literacy in Hawaii. I want to spread the understanding that science is a vital and interesting part of everyone's life. I want to make sure the broadest possible spectrum of people understand the beauty and the value of science and realize that science plays out each and every day of their lives. I want you to understand that science is fun. So we bring on to this show each week guests who are scientists, from astronomers to zoologists, and we talk about what they do and how they do it. But most importantly, we talk about why you should care about their work, why you should see that their work has value and impact on your life. So I hope you'll join us Fridays, 1 p.m. here on ThinkTech Hawaii. You can watch us via live stream. You can watch us recorded on Olelo, and you can see us each week. We hope you'll join us.
Hi, I'm Jay Fidel. That's Ted Ralston. Ted is the host of Where the Road Leads. It shows every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. It's about technology. It's about how people collaborating and solve problems with modern technology. It's where the road leads. We all know that. We should all be listening. Join us there, 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday. Now, what about that do you agree with?
All of it.
I knew he'd say that. Aloha. Say aloha.
Aloha.
Good.
Aloha! How you doing there, lads and lassies? It's great to see you again. I'm out here and having a great time, but it's great talking about the snow. Hey, Joe, how you doing there, lad?
I'm great.
It's
Angus.
great.
Hi.
It's great to see you there, lad. Hey, Joe, I know you've been to South Pole a few times, so I got a couple of wee jokes for you. So, why are the penguins afraid of Great Britain? Why they never come visit us in Great Britain? Do you know why?
Gee, I can't figure that
Because
out.
they're afraid of whales. That's why. That's why they're not there. Anyway, I don't know when you're gonna go to the South Pole again, but I found a wee gadget you might want to bring with you the next time.
What would that be?
It's a snowball launcher. It launches snowballs. We got a wee picture of it here. This is pretty awesome. It's really cool. You see the 3 chambers there? You take the snow and you scoop it into the chambers, and after you scoop the snow in the chambers, it makes 3 perfect spheres, and then you launch it. The sucker can launch for 2 blocks. It can lay it. So we didn't have snow here. So you know what I did? I put an egg in it, and I launched it, and I'm still cracking up. So anyway, that's what we did. It's a real cool thing. Hey, Joe, you know what? It's really cool. You know what's neat? It's only $20.95, and it's really awesome. So you got to go down there and bring a couple with you and have some fun with the penguins. Try knocking them off. Then the Humane Society come after you as well. So anyway, Joe, that's what I got for you today. Thanks for coming in and filling in for Andrew, who's always flying everywhere. And anyway, just remember, everybody, let your wind gang free wherever you be. Aloha!
Hey, Angus, he looks a little bit like you, Gordon.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
I noticed the pate.
Somewhat. Look, some slight resemblance somewhere along the line. I know. They charge me double when I get on the plane. I don't know why. And then sometimes they throw me off. So anyway, coming back, I think you really should get one of those. one of those launchers.
Snowball launcher. I don't know if it fit my bag though.
Oh yeah, but that would be awesome. Can you imagine go down there?
I might get arrested.
Yeah, get arrested. Anyway, so we're coming back. So we had left off. So this is Joe Ferraro. Joe Ferraro's with Ferraro Choi and Associates. I'm Gordon, the tech czar. We're here talking about his project in the South Pole and how technology evolved over 30 plus years to where he is today, and all the development work that's gone on there. It's really kind of very fascinating story. That's what's happened. So let's bring us back now to AutoCAD had come out, and you were one of the first law firms, I think, to start getting onto this.
Well, we weren't a law firm, by the way.
Oh, I'm
We were
sorry.
an architectural firm, yeah. But actually we were. I think we'd like to say that we were the first firm that everyone in the firm was on AutoCAD.
Mm.
Yeah. And I owe all that to my partner, Joe Choi. He established the whole thing.
That's the whole thing. Now, were you able then to email drawings to the South Pole?
Eventually.
So,
yeah.
but you couldn't, so why couldn't you?
Well, actually not to the South Pole, because South Pole did not have the bandwidth, well, it didn't have the satellites
Okay,
that would stay in a geosynchronous orbit, right? Satellites are low on the horizon, just like the sun. So when you're at the pole, by the way, the sun only goes to about 15 degrees in the sky and just goes around all day long. So it's very, very different there. And so are the satellites. So they're way on the horizon. You don't get much satellite coverage. So it was hard sending, even until recently, hard sending big data to the pole.
to the pole.
Yeah.
So you're still back to carrying those drawings?
Just, well, carrying a disc or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true, you
Yeah.
had the disc.
But when we first went, actually, we would communicate by shortwave radio.
Oh,
Yeah, from the pole.
oh, so there's a big shortwave cadre of people here on
Yeah,
Hawaii.
I mean, yeah, all around the world. But yeah, so that, I mean, going from shortwave to, when you go to the pole now, they give you a telephone card and you got a telephone in your room.
Wow,
That's how great it is.
that's
Yeah.
man, that's
Yeah.
that's a shit.
And we've got broadband, so I can send drawings down.
So what enables what? So they're using so they launched more satellites over time.
Well, NSF shares satellites with other groups in the government, for instance, NASA.
Okay.
So right now they share a couple of NASA satellites, and for instance, but others share it too, such as the International Space Station.
Okay.
And the what's our wonderful telescope up there?
Mauna Kea?
No,
No.
out in space. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, I know. It'll
Senior
come-
moment.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
gosh.
we share, NSF shares the use of these satellites with other departments in the government. So we have windows of time when it can be used, but we can send a lot of data. So like 150 megabytes per second.
Wow.
So 100 times what you get on your home, what do you call it?
On your
Yeah, your
PC, on
PC,
your internet,
yeah.
and all this kind of
Yeah.
thing. So now, is that have things? I'm assuming, but you know, things are stranger. So things move faster now. And I don't mean the data, but the ability to get upgrades to buildings or new facilities.
Not
You know,
really.
Not really.
Not really, no. So you still have a logistics chain that is long. So you design something, has to be all put together on the mainland in
Okay.
packages. Then it's shipped by boat via down, sometimes they stop here in Hawaii, New Zealand. Finally, it gets to McMurdo Station after the ice is broken by an icebreaker in March.
Wow.
Gets offloaded at McMurdo into a warehouse, and if it's going to South Pole, it stays in that warehouse over the winter. Then the next season, it either is taken apart and sent down on a C-130, which has a cargo hold of 8 feet by 8 feet by 32 feet
It's not much.
and 22,000 pounds, or it gets brought down by this new system they call the Antarctic Traverse. So these tractors drag it with, they have radar in the front of the tractor so they don't go down a crevasse. And they drag it up the Beardmore Glacier all the way to the pole at 10,000 feet.
How long does that take?
It takes weeks.
A week. Weeks.
Weeks, yeah.
Weeks.
Yeah, and they're now refueling South Pole Station via that method.
That method. Well, no, that is the kind of cool.
So it can take a few years actually before you can actually get a product down there to start using it.
Now, do they prefab the building or the structure somewhere?
Some of them are, yes.
And then they assemble them when they get down there.
Yeah, it depends on what the structure is, but yeah, some things are, for instance, South Pole Station, a lot of it was all pre-assembled on the mainland, and it was all, categorized, numbered, and sent down in small pieces. Even the crane that has to lift all these things into
Right.
place has to be taken apart and sent down on a C-130.
On the C-130. And then you send a can't be that large of a construction crew that goes down there, right?
It's quite large, over 50
Really?
people.
Over 50 people. Now, and they have accommodation for 50? They
Yes.
have to- obviously, they
Yeah.
have to have accommodation for 50 people. And they're there for how long during the construction time?
Sometimes they're there, well, most of them were there for the entire year, so over the winter. So they do a lot of the work on the inside of the structures during the winter time.
Okay.
Outside during the summer.
During the summertime?
Summertime's 3 weeks, and at South Pole, it's a nice balmy minus 35 degrees in the summer.
Minus 35
Minus 35.
Fahrenheit.
Yes, and the season opens at about minus 80.
And about oh, wow. That's really just wonderful
You got some
environment to work
Tough guys working.
in. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be
Yeah.
brutal.
Brutal.
It
yeah.
must pay well.
No.
No. Why is it everything
Federal government.
every time I think of something I'm going to make money?
Federal government.
No, it's federal government, so you don't end up getting that. But I can just imagine applying for the job.
Oh, yeah.
I need to go down to the South Pole for a year, get away from it all, so to
Well,
speak.
it's amazing who applies for these jobs. So professionals, lawyers, doctors, whatever, they'll go down just to drive a forklift.
Really?
Yeah, so you get some very bright people driving forklifts and unloading cargo planes, just so that they have the experience of doing it.
So there's not a worry about getting volunteers to come in and do
No,
this kind
no,
of
no.
stuff.
They're just inundated with people that want to go.
Wow, so you've got all these wonderful things. To think about this for the technology people, you got all these wonderful physical technologies that have been created as a result of, the endeavors going on down there. Now, have you got you're doing another project for them, right? Or
We're
just
doing several right now.
several right now.
Yeah, we just completed a balloon launch facility at the South Pole. We are starting on the planning of raising the entire South Pole station, which was all planned.
Right.
We're going to raise it about 15 feet, so that's a big logistics issue. There's a new master plan for McMurdo Station, which is the largest station on the continent, about 1,500 people. So we're renovating, hopefully we'll be renovating the Crary Laboratory, which we designed back in the 80s. It's 25 years old now.
Wow.
40,000 square foot science lab, so we'll be redoing that. And also building a home for the Traverse tractors. And then there are 3 other AE firms involved in doing all kinds of
AE?
architectural engineering firms
Okay.
that are involved doing all sorts of other things.
So how many buildings are we talking at the South Pole?
At South Pole, we have one major habitat building, and then there are about, I'd say about 8 other buildings. There's one just for the telescopes. There's a 10-meter telescope there and some other smaller telescopes. And then there's a garage for the heavy equipment. There's a power plant. There's a fuel depot. And there's also a clean air facility. There's the balloon launch facility. And yeah, just several infrastructures.
So if I was someone who was in school and decided I wanted to get involved in what was going on at the Science Foundation, this may be a question that you can't answer, but if someone is watching this show and says, I'd really like to do that, where would they go? The federal government? They go to the NASA website? They go to the National Science Foundation website? What if someone said they were interested in getting into this kind of business?
Well, it depends on what part of the business, because there's so many aspects to it that you want to get involved in. Do you want to get involved in science? Do you want to get involved in support? Do you want to get involved in design? So, yeah, NSF would be a good link to start with. They've got a fantastic website, or you can go to the major contractor right now for all of the continent is Lockheed Martin.
Okay, so just again, I've been telling everybody the tech opportunities around this world are amazing. I don't think you can get anything as unique as the South Pole for something to get some experience at, but there's something they should certainly be looking at. Now, one of the questions we always have is how many, the women in tech. We always say there's women in tech. Now, are there many women that are involved in the projects that are involved in the South Pole?
Well, when I first started back in the early 80s, there were practically no women involved. Now it's I would guess 50-50. Yeah. And we have accommodations that are really nice throughout, all 3 stations that support both men, women, and couples.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, let's hold that because it's another break time. So we got to go pay some bills. We'll take care of that. We'll pay some bills. We'll be back in a minute, and we'll see you in a few.
This is Alice Lee Hagan, host of ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. My show here at ThinkTech Hawaii is every Thursday from 3 to 4 in the afternoon. I bring in interesting guests from Hawaii, the mainland, and hopefully international guests in the future. Do join us on Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. ThinkTech Hawaii Business Education Spotlight. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is Paul Jackson, better known as PJ, and my local interest is in sports. I have my own sports radio show at KWAI AM 1080 that you can stream live. I also have my own website, pjsportsradio.com. We have live guests in studio, and we talk about discussions and topics that everyone wants to know locally here on the islands. We cover everything from surfing to basketball to whatever's going on locally, sports-wise. We try to do our best and cover the topics in depth as much as we can. Once again, thank you for joining PJ here on Hawaii Sports Update. Mahalo.
Aloha, how you doing? Welcome back to Hibachi Talk. I'm Gordo, the Tech Czar. I'm here with my good friend Joe Ferraro with Ferraro Choi and Associates. We're talking about the National Science Foundation and all the work he's been doing down there for 34 years and all the technology he hasn't had and now has to do what they have to do. But, Joe, before I go into this, I know you and I, we talked about earlier, born at the same time and so on. So I thought I'd show, I signed us up for a new motorcycle club.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, I bike and I've been biking for a long
yeah.
time. So I signed us up for this new motorcycle gang. Thought you might want to see our crest. It's the Sons of Arthritis. So this is us, right? And we signed up for the ibuprofen chapter. So your membership card will be coming in the mail along with your AARP card within a few weeks. So anyway, I'm looking forward to us getting out there on our tricycles and heading off into the sunset.
They better be trikes, too.
How's your balance?
That's why I need a trike.
As we get older, one thing we lose is balance.
Yeah, and they're better on the ice, I understand.
Yeah, good. Well, they're perfect. Yeah, and rubber wheels all the way around. So anyway, so we'll come back. So we're talking about occupations and jobs and opportunities. You just mentioned so your website too. So you may have some things that you could explain there.
Actually, you could click on our website if you're interested. That would be www.ferraro, like a car with an O, Ferraro Choi, all one word, CHOI.com. And on there's links to the National Science Foundation, probably Lockheed Martin, all of our engineers. And then you can drill down into the site and see a lot of our buildings in Antarctica.
That you've worked on. So
yeah, and also the stuff we do around here.
And you've done some pretty interesting projects around here. Let's kind of digress for a little bit. So what were some of the fun projects that you worked on?
Oh, geez, the most fun I ever had on a project was for the estate of James Campbell. And it was so funny because the guy in charge of all the IT there wanted us to do a high-tech computer room that would be all lit in a blue light.
Black light.
Black light, so that, gee, who was that?
I wonder who that was. They still have that data center.
They do. And so anyway, that was a great project we worked on with Gordon. But more recently, for tech, we just completed the new Information Technology Center for the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So that has a 10,000 square foot data center, and it's system-wide, so all the email for the state and for the university goes through that building.
Yeah, so that's a great project. That, David Lasner was the
that's correct.
The father of that one, so to speak.
Right. Now he's the president.
Now he's the president of the university. So, and he made that happen. It's interesting that that you talk about their email. I have a little plug for PACSA. We're in the process of helping the state migrate off of Lotus Notes on the mainframe. Lotus Notes on the mainframe to Office 365. I do have a Lotus too,
Yes,
but to Office 365. So we've got I think we've got 6,000 employees now are up on Office 365 at the state. Wow. Slowly working away and getting those things up on that side. So the state is slowly starting moving forward, but that UH facility is something else.
And I've got to hand it to David Lasner. He had a vision. He worked on that project for 20 years to bring it to fruition. And it's a really good.
And I got to get him on the show because the other thing that he did was the BTOP grant, which is a broadband grant that he led the charge on with Clyde Sonobe and a number of others to get that broadband funding from the federal government. It was 24 or 25 million to put broadband to all the schools. So now all the schools are high-speed internet connected. Yeah, so you've got that, so we've got a lot of great things that have been happening in Hawaii, but we tend to just talk about all the bad stuff. And so on.
And we're also doing a lot of work for the schools, for the DOE. We're working on 4 projects right now for the DOE. And it's this thing called High Chips, or Hawaii, I can't remember what it is, but it's
I'm thinking of cows when you say chips, but I know that's not what you mean.
But anyway, it's my partner's projects, but They're very highly sustainable projects, and they're shooting, the DOE's now shooting for zero energy buildings, which mean they'll produce all their energy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these are new buildings or retrofits?
New buildings. We've done quite a bit of retrofits, but new buildings.
Look at this, sustainable architecture.
Yeah, so this is our, two nice projects. This is over in Kona. That's the new school for the...
That's the IBM building.
That's the IBM, that's our offices. That's the new NOAA facility out on Ford Island that we did with HOK. There's the South Pole Station.
Wow, nice. This is nice. Zero, you're awesome.
And yeah, and we did the Shriners Hospital. We're doing a renovation on that right now.
Wow, nice job. So, you know, and you're a very, very sustainable-oriented architectural firm. I mean,
Sure, yeah.
even before it was the buzzword, because, you know, plugging the James Campbell building in Kapolei, you know, there weren't such things as lead architects and those
Right,
kinds of things.
right.
But there was a lot of stuff that you were involved in making sure things would happen in that, so that building was sustainable in some
Yeah,
ways.
and I just throw a plug in here for CJS Group, because when I came here, they were working on the HMSA building.
Oh.
And again, before computers, so we had to model that whole building with actual models and have a thing going over the top, a light, so it looked like the sun.
Right.
So we could see the shading and everything. But Chris really got me on the path of sustainability. And then when I went to Antarctica, I realized what a fragile planet we have. And Hawaii is very, very much like Antarctica in that sense, because if we screw it up, we don't have anything, right?
You're right.
So then I really got on the kick for everything that we do should be sustainable.
Right, and Chris Smith, CJ, who started that, he's still been a champion of that
Oh,
as well.
very much so,
Very,
yeah.
very much so. So, so coming back to just kind of the where you are today, what is the processes now of getting what technology you have available to you to get things to and from, data-wise, to and from the South Pole?
Oh, gosh. So everything we do now has to be in 3D format.
Wow.
So there's a lot more data, but we can send it practically any time now with the broadband right to South Pole. And when we have a conference call, South Pole is right on the line with us. We haven't been doing video teleconferences with South Pole, but they're on the line. And so it's almost instantaneous communication.
So just to think about, in 34 years is not long, and especially at our age.
Yeah.
It's just like, my goodness, it went so damn fast. So at 34 years, here you are from lugging down rolls of drawings.
Yeah.
You know,
Literally.
Literally, and then now you're at today where you're on the phone, talking to them in the South Pole, and they're bringing it up on their computers.
Yes.
In 3D.
Yeah, and also, if we say, hey, you know, what's the switch gear like in that building? They'll go out, take 18 photographs, and send them back to us.
And versus trying to explain it to you.
Exactly. So, I mean, you're virtually there.
Virtually.
Or they'll take they also do take their iPad and walk around and give us instantaneous pictures.
So,
yeah.
Wow, so if there's a snowstorm coming in.
Skype, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so snowstorms, do they show you things that are happening
Oh, yeah,
with the building?
there's a camera at South Pole right now, so you can log on and see what's actually going on. at
Oh,
South
so they're actually, right now, so John Q. Public, there's
Pole. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So can they get to that from your website, or?
I think so, yeah, or just go to NSF.
NSF, and you get to see what's happening at
Yeah.
the South Pole.
Mhm.
But
They
you
tell you
won't
it's-
see any penguins. 'Cause
No, not at
I
South
learned that
Pole.
here today.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was no penguins at the
But
South
click
Pole.
on the McMurdo webcam, and you may, let's see, no, you won't see penguins right now. But,
They come in during the mating season, they
yeah,
really.
in the
fill it-
summer,
in
so
the
it's
sum-
winter now.
It's-
It's very dark.
Oh, it's winter, yeah, because they're the opposite
Yeah.
of
South Pole.
North America.
Yeah, right, so it's very dark there now.
Oh, very dark, I think.
But
So-
you'll see an aurora borealis, which will be the aurora australis,
Oh,
which is actually very beautiful.
Which
So you
is-
might click on and see that at South Pole.
at the South Pole. So, when are you heading back? When are you gonna go down the South Pole
I'm not
next?
sure I'm even gonna go, but I think I'm old now, right? So what I'd really like to do is have other younger people in our firm get the opportunity to go down. I've been down there 13 times.
Oh, it's 13 times, so, I've never been.
No,
You know,
you should try.
I should go. I mean,
Sign up to be a forklift operator.
Yeah, I used to be a forklift operator.
So
I
was
have
I.
experience.
So was I.
I was forklifting beer, surprise, surprise.
Now I know.
At Brewers Retail.
Now I know.
One of my summer jobs. So I can bring that. I'll bring my brother. He is it already. Ivor, he still is a forklift operator.
Just don't sign on to be a pilot, okay? It won't be
Can
fine.
you imagine Ivor and I down there on forklifts? Oh, do they allow beer in the
Yes.
South Pole? Oh, okay,
Yes.
that's a good thing. But they put you on quota?
Yes.
Oh, see, that's the problem, because him and I would probably go out to take some.
Yeah, but you can share.
Oh, okay. Can you imagine if we went outside to get a suntan? Never to be
Can.
seen again. Little frostbite. No, well, that's good. So you got, it's wintertime now, so they're
Yeah.
snowed in,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yes, they are.
So there may be an opportunity for some of your crew to head down next year or the year after?
Yeah, so, well, maybe this year, that would be sometime around, the first flight to McMurdo is in late August. So we may be sending some people down for this new project that we're doing.
For the new project that you're
Yeah.
working on. No, there's no broadband cable fiber that's landed at,
No,
right?
not to my knowledge.
Not to
no,
my
it's all
knowledge
satellite,
either.
Yeah,
So everything you're doing there is from
Yep.
satellite.
correct.
So and all the satellites that you're sharing and
Mhm.
and so on.
Mhm.
So is there, what do you see happening in the future from a tech perspective? If you had the magic window, could you see what you think will be happening next down there?
Well, I mean, I'm an architect and you're a tech czar, but it would seem that we'll have better satellite communication because there may be a better satellite set up right over the pole rather than on the horizon.
Okay.
And hopefully NSF might get one that they're not sharing, so they have continuous data.
So they could have-
There's a tremendous amount of data that the scientists want to send out all the time to all their universities. So if you're a scientist and let's say you've got a graduate student or a postdoc down there, he may be there for the whole winter and he's getting valuable data he wants to get back to the university so that they can use it, right? So there's tons of data they're trying to send back all the time. So, if they've got a better data stream,
It'd be there. Now, I mean, I always hear things about global warming, and they always talk about the North Pole. I never
Yeah.
hear anything talk about the South Pole.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
click on, there's a big concern that on the other side of the continent, it's called the West Antarctic ice sheet. We did some work over there on where they're doing ice cores. That entire side of the continent is, they're predicting it's melting quickly, and a giant part of it could calve off into the sea. And then that's like, it's not sea ice like you have in the Arctic.
Okay.
If you put an ice cube in your water, it's not going to change
Right.
it changes it, but if it's in there, it's not raising it. But if you drop an ice cube in the water, which would be happening, the water
Oh,
rises, right?
that surge that happens on
Yeah,
that.
so unlike the North Pole, if it's melting, it doesn't matter. But if we drop this Antarctic ice sheet into the ocean, it's going to raise the sea level.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
so it's a
Well,
big concern.
But nothing like leaving the show on a high point.
On a high note.
Like on a
Just
high
pray.
spot. You're not going to believe it. We burned a perfectly good lunch hour,
Yeah.
45 minutes. It's been just
It's
a
been terrific,
delight,
yeah.
just a delight to have you on this show. We always give our guests
Oh,
our
my
autographed
God.
solo cup.
My
So
God.
cherish this for the rest of your life.
I will.
It's
I'll
a
put it on
legacy.
my
You can
mantle.
leave it for your grandkids. And all those kinds of things. Put it on your mantle. It's there. So again, we want to thank everybody for joining us. Check us out, hibachi.com, ThinkTech.com, Ferraro Choi.
Thank you, Gordon.
.com, all of those kinds of things. Zuri, Tad, thanks a lot for helping us do this again. You guys are awesome. And again, how you doing?